Shemai. Hello, how are you? This is Benjamin, and a few of you have asked me to compare different Celtic languages. So this is hopefully a short video, a few sentences in Welsh with Irish. Okay? I'm fluent in Welsh, but I'm not fluent in Irish, so bear with me on that front. I know maybe 100 words in Irish off the cuff, so I've got a bit, but my pronunciation, I'm not Irish. So, we're going to look at 5 sentences comparing that Welsh, Irish, and showing you some of the similarities and how these two Celtic languages diverged from each other. Right? So, let's jump into those 5 sentences now. The first one. In English, the houses were all alike. The houses were all alike. And in Welsh, roedd y tai I gyd fel ei gilydd. And in Irish, fi na tithe ar fad coswyl lycheile. So there are quite a few similarities here, and this first bit in Irish, vi. In Welsh, you could put be here and it would change the meaning slightly, but not much. Roedd and be are both past tense, but they mean different things. Roedd means it was going on. Be means it kind of stopped in the past, right? So it's not quite appropriate here for Welsh, but it's a very similar meaning to the verb to be construction here in Irish. A tie, the houses. Irish uses different articles for the, right? Na. And tithe and tie, very similar again. I gyd and arfad or arfad, that's quite different. Coswyl lycheile. Now, fel ei gilydd, this actually came into Welsh from Irish a long time ago. Literally, like to his friend. He kilydd, and there's a mutation hiding there. Kilydd, and it mutates in Irish as well, from Caila to Chaila, but it's different, it's a different mutation. So you can see just from that once you know how these languages work, there's a lot of similarities there, though they grew in different ways, and I find that quite fascinating. Let's go to the next one. In English, she led him through the darkness. She led him through the darkness. And in Welsh, arweniodd hi drwy tywyllwch. Now, if you're a bit northern, you might hear arweniodd hi o drwy tywyllwch. Similar, but you get it. In Irish, treri she a trid an dorchadas. Treri she a trid an dorchadas. Dorchadas. So there's quite a few similarities there, and there's some differences this time. So arwain is to lead, and treri, this is a different verb in Irish and Welsh. But he and she, that's a sound difference that happened it was quite late actually for these changes. I think it was in the 7th century or something, that the S and the H were firmly changing in Welsh. And at least the southern word for him in Welsh, is quite similar to the Irish word for him. Drwy is through in Welsh. There's a mutation on it. It would have been trwy. And in Irish, trid. So that's really similar. And that R, that apostrophe R, is the word the in Welsh. And an, again, is a different one in Irish. And tywyllwch and dorchadas, it is quite a bit similar, but it's not too far off, really, at the end of the day. So, similarities and differences. Let's go to the next one. The boy gave the letter to me this morning. The boy gave the letter to me this morning. Roes y bachgen A llithyr y mir bore yma. You might hear a rodd as well. For to give, he gave. Roes y bach gen a llithyr y mir bore yma. And in Irish, Tŵg yn bochael, an litr dom ar maiden. Tŵg yn bochael, an litr dom ar maiden. So this one's a bit more different in a couple ways. And I did this because I'm trying to show you different ways in which they grew out of each other. So roi is to give in Welsh. But there's also an older word that you hear every once in a while, dig. And this is related to the Irish here, tŵg. But in Welsh it's more of like to bring, to carry. And I'm pretty sure that this broke off the same root a long time ago. But in any case, we developed a different word for to give in Welsh. And the word for boy is clearly related. Bachgen. The IN, Irish, is quite similar there. And then the article a and an in Irish, that's different. Llythyr and litr are obviously borrowings from Latin. That's quite similar, though I don't want to mistake myself. If any of you speak Irish, is that one in Irish rather a borrowing from English? It may be, actually. I me, to me. So we conjugate the preposition in Welsh, and it's the same thing in Irish. Dom, that M in Irish, shows you that it's me, me. Bore ma, this morning, literally, morning here. Ar maiden in Irish. Now, I'm not entirely sure, but this maiden probably comes from the same root as the Cornish. Muten da, good morning. And that means, in my mind, that it probably comes from Saxon. That's interesting that Irish and Cornish both took that. But literally, he gave the letter to me on the morning, rather than the morning here, as in Welsh. Next one. The key is under the large grey bookshelf. The key is under the large grey bookshelf. And in Welsh, marallwedd, or maragoriad if you're northern. Marallwedd o dan y silff lyfrau mawr llwyd. Maragoriad o dan y silff lyfrau mawr llwyd. And in Irish, tá an och ar fain seil flair morlia. Tá an och ar fain self lair morlia. Now there's a couple interesting things there. So the word for key in Irish, I mean, let me know if you speak Irish, but it literally sounds like opener, right? But the beginning, my and ta, this is the same thing in the same construction. It's to be, is. The verb comes first. The structure in Irish and Welsh it's practically identical, so that's really easy, for a Welsh speaker. And that apostrophe R, again, that's the same as on. So different prepositions, different words for the. O dan is under in Welsh, and fain is a compressing of the and under in Irish. And we'll get back to that word, fi, because it has a couple different meanings, and we'll use that in the next sentence to show you that it's actually related to Welsh, but not in the same meaning as o dan. A shelf, so that's clearly similar. And lyfra comes from llyfra, books, ler in Irish. Very similar way that they compress them together. And in Irish, there used to be a v sound in there, but it was lost. But you can see from the spelling that it used to be much, much more similar to Welsh. And big, mawr, more. That's really easy. And it's interesting here that the color is similar. Llwyd for grey and Leah in Irish. Let's go to the next one. The 2 eggs will be gone within the afternoon. In Welsh, bydd y ddau wy wedi mynd o fewn y prynhawn. Bydd y ddau wy wedi mynd o fewn y prynhawn. And in Irish, Beie and dawf ymia fain tranona. Beie and dawf ymia fain tranona. Now, there's a couple things here. The future verb to be, that b sound, is pretty much identical, except the Irish lost the th sound that we kept in Welsh. Thy, two, normally it's die, but it's changed after the the. Da, for Irish, and oob. So both of these languages do something interesting in terms of objects after numbers. We don't say die uia, 2 eggs. We say 2 egg. And in both of these cases, the egg is singular after the number 2. So that's interesting. And then wedi mynd is gone. And then in Irish, emea. This really makes me think of something you hear in the old Welsh Mabinogion tales, a maith. You hear it every now and then for specific situations in Welsh today. It's used, but it's quite literary. A maith means cast away. And this looks like it comes from the same root as this Irish word, meaning away, gone. That's interesting. And then o fewn is within. It can be within a box or within an amount of time. Okay? Now, I put in parentheses here, erbyn, because you could say by a time, but in this context, I would use o fewn. Some people would very much use erbyn in this context more so. But o fewn is like, it's much more final. And I used it because I wanted to show you this fine word. And o fewn is related to it. Now, it would be mewn, but the Irish one evolved out of imitation as well. Within and this within an amount of time in Irish, which can also reference positions of objects in Irish. These are coming from the same root, which I find that's interesting. And then aprenhawn, the afternoon, and trinona in Irish, which we have different words there. I hope that gives you a bit of an idea as to how close these 2 languages are, but how also they've grown apart in different ways that make each of them unique and give each of them different qualities in how they shape words. Have you ever tried learning one of those and then come across the other and been like, oh, there's something a bit different there, but I recognize something of it? If so, let me know down in the comments. Or for those of you thinking you might learn a Celtic language, what attracts you to either of these 2 languages? Okay? We'll see you next time. Diolch am wylio, and a special thanks